Thanks to our sponsors, the City of Greater Geraldton, Warren Taylor Homes, Melissa Price, the member for Durack, GT Russell, Chartered Accountants and Business Advisors, Smartline Mortgage Brokers, and, of course, the team at Drennan O'Malley Motors. It's right here, right now, on your home of GNFL football, Radio Mama.
And a very good afternoon and welcome. Drennan O'Malley Motors Game Day, Glenn Bunton and Peter Fiorenza on Sports Shed, SHL Radio, Radio Mama, and we are the home of GNFL footy as we get excited about round 6 for Skeeters. And today we're at the Warren Taylor Homes Recreation Ground with top place Railways hosting second place Rovers. The game of the day and, of course, the top two sides, as we mentioned, going at it in earlier games today with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. In the Colts, Rovers 16-10-106 defeated Railways 9-3-57, and the reserves, Railways too good for Rovers in that contest. Who will win the big one? Well, you'll be able to hear all the action from 1:30 this afternoon. Other games being played today at GBSE Sports Park. Third place Brigades hosting sixth place Chapman Valley. In the Colts, Brigades have won that on a forfeit. Chapman Valley a little bit undermanned through injury and COVID. And in the reserves game, Brigades 13-11 have defeated Chapman Valley 3-2. And of course, we'll have quarter by quarter scores from GBSE Sports Park. Brigades favoured to win that game against Chapman Valley. And the round concludes tomorrow up at Mullawar, as the home side Mullawar take on Northampton in a very entertaining game. As we see Railways and Rovers going through the warm-ups, the coaches have had their say, and now have had the toss of the coin, and Matt Kimberley playing his 100th game this afternoon. So all the best to Matt Kimberley, and joining me in commentary as always, Pete Fiorenza. Good afternoon to you, Pete.
Yes, Glenn, trying to get your attention to say that Rovers have won the toss and are kicking toward the Augusta Street end in the first term as maybe a very slight breeze, but not much in it. Great conditions for football, Glenn. We only were talking about it a little bit earlier, and the rec is in fine fettle this afternoon as well as all of the grounds in and around the city of Greater Geraldton. I take my dogs out on a regular basis, and I just love going to all of the areas for the dogs, and they are looking great at the moment, and I bet you our sporting people are enjoying them as well. So not too far away from a start here, and this is probably, Glenn, the game today that we really want to see a close, tight, hard-fought affair. But do you think that will be the result?
I think so. I think Railways, their structure, we've been very impressed. We've seen a lot of Railways this year, Peter, and we see them again next weekend when they play Brigades. They play with good system, good structure. Rovers, on paper, they match them player for player and probably in some places exceed them as in ability. But, whether Rovers have been training as hard and are as structured as Railways. So Railways probably getting the ball out of the centre. They haven't had a ruckman. They've got Johnny Narkle playing today. Also got Ryan Latesia, which gives them a little bit of height around the ground. But also they've got Jesse Adamini and Mitchell Boyle in the midfield. And those two are in really good form at the moment. Adamini is leading the goal scoring. He kicked 8 last week and continues to lead the goal scoring. So his performances throughout have been very, very good, and you expect him to continue. Jesse Adamini has a total of 23 goals. Jack Cocking, the true full forward, has got 17 goals. Where you look through at the moment, Rovers, Josh Simpson is their leading goal scorer with 7. But having said that, they are strengthened today with Shannon Cox coming into the lineup for Rovers. But as you say, Rovers are going to the northern end of the ground, so that'll be a good contest. The umpires for this afternoon's game, Peter, Robert Bennett, Steve Pratt and Brian Cohen. So very experienced umpires. And umpire Pratt in his 250th league game to put the ball into the air, and he does now. We're underway in this first term with thanks to Warren Taylor Homes, and Mitchell Boyle wins it out of the centre with a handball there to Jesse Adamini. Adamini goes forward, kicks it up towards half forward, looking up there for Narkle. Ball picked up by Adamini. In fact, it's Alex Newton, and Alex Newton shoots on goal. First score on the board for Adam Hunter Accountants, and 1 point only on the scoreboard in the opening 30 seconds of this first term.
Yeah, Railways off to a flyer, Glenn. Boyle out of the middle, as you alluded to, having a good season. The ball in the half-back area now for Rovers on the Francis Street side of the ground. It goes down that wing. Players setting themselves up. They go. A nice mark is taken at centre wing. Rovers presently pushing back now as the first sortie forward was by the Blues. Into the half-forward area it goes, and out and takes a nice mark on that occasion in Dwayne Neville. Don't know if Dwayne's played many games this year, but he is a premiership player. A nice little chip pass in. No, it wasn't in the end. It did meet the intended target. Through come the defenders for Railways. Easily get rid of it. It's back with Kimberley. The milestone player this afternoon. He kicks back to the outer side and finds the player out there who is equal to the task, takes a nice mark. I think that might be Newton. He plays on further afield down the wing. A bit of a contest there. The ball goes to ground. Railways are first to collect it. Eventually goes away of the Rovers combatant. He tries to knock it toward the boundary, but a bit of a pack develops. As players try and get it through, Rovers win out as it comes out the way of Neville again. He's dragged to the ground, puts it onto his boot, sends it forward. On the half-back line now, it's back with Adamini. Adamini sends it into the middle of the ground, and a nice mark is taken in there by Elliot Delaney.
Elliot Delaney playing on the half-back, gets it out wide, looking for a teammate there, finds that player in Zimmerman, who was one of their better players last week, Railway. Zimmerman gets it up to his captain and finds Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders on centre wing, Radio Mama broadcast side of the ground, centres the ball. Finds Mitchell Boyle, running past to receive is the player there in Elliot Delaney. Delaney kicks it up towards half forward, looking there for Newton. In goes the young player for the Railways side, who's tackled a little bit high. So the free kick will go the way of the player there in Corey Clark, who showed very good skills last week against Towns. So Corey Clark, a good young player, puts it on his left boot. Kicks it up towards the forward line, looking there for Jack Cocking. He overruns the ball, picked up by Simpson. Oh. Simpson kicks the ball out towards the clubroom side, but the ball is cut off by Tristan Simpson for the Blues. He kicks it up towards Johnny Narkle, off hands and through for a force behind in this first term. Drennan O'Malley Motors game day, 2 minutes 30 played, and an interesting scoreline. On the Adam Hunter score board, it is 2 points to Railways, and Rovers yet to score.
This quarter brought to you by Warren Taylor Homes. Hello to Warren and Janine. I'm sure they'll be listening or watching this game this afternoon. The ball in front of our broadcast position. It's in the possession of Jager Williams. He sends it inboard now and finds Adamini. Adamini now. One of the early favourites of the Clune Medal, I believe. Sends it into the middle of the ground. Saunders is there, unopposed, takes the mark. Inside the forward 50, up they go. It's knocked down by the defender there for Rovers. Rovers come out of it through Simpson. Kobe Simpson sends it out on the wing. He's looking in turn for the player there in Josh Simpson. He's outpointed on this occasion. Back to Williams. That's Jager Williams. And in the middle, it's with Mitchell Boyle.
Mitchell Boyle gets another possession early in this contest. Kicks it up towards full forward. A good mark taken by Jack Cocking, who was under a fair bit of pressure. But Jack Cocking, a big, tall young man, takes a good, strong mark. Jack Cocking still 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle, kicking to the southern end in this first term. So Jack Cocking has had a good season. Kicked 4 goals last week, and his tally is climbed to 17 after last weekend's round. So Jack Cocking, a young player with a lot of ability and a fair bit of potential. Jack Cocking to shoot on goal. Can he get the first major of the afternoon for Railways? There goes the kick. Looks pretty good. It'll fade away to the left-hand side. 1 point only. And on the Adam Hunter scoreboard for Warren Taylor Homes and Drennan O'Malley Motors, we see Railways wasting a few opportunities. They are 3 behinds and Rovers yet to score.
Kobe Simpson, he wears a helmet, Glenn, kicking to the outer side, the Francis Street side of the ground for the Demons. Up they go. Player out there to take the mark. Doesn't do so. The ball spills free. It came out of the hands of Delton Jones there, the former Towns player, and spills over the boundary. In fact,
got a free kick.
Yeah, free kick goes the way of Delton. Delta comes in now. The ball is with Rovers. It's Chris Scott. Chris Scott comes across to a teammate who sends it down the wing. It's now with Rovers, who continue to send it down the broadcast side of the ground, running in to try and collect it on this occasion. Here's the player in Roland Drummond. He's beaten, but the ball gets away from his opposite number. Goes the way now of Gabriel Parford. The vice-captain sends it into the full forward area. And a beautiful, strong mark is taken right in front of goals. Only about 20 metres out, if that, 15 to 20 metres out. And now Rovers will have their first shot on goal this afternoon and maybe the first full pointer for this Drennan O'Malley game day.
Yes, it's taken 5 minutes, Peter. We've seen Railways go forward on 3 occasions. The Rovers have gone forward once. Shannon Cox used his strength and his ability. One arm held back and he took one with 1 mark. So there goes Shannon Cox's kick. He doesn't miss him from 40 metres directly in front, and he hasn't on this occasion. And on the Adam Hunter accountant scoreboard for Railways this afternoon, we see Railways are 3 behinds. They trail Rovers 1 goal straight. And a very good play there from Shannon Cox, who used all that experience he's gained over many, many years to take a beautiful strong mark and finish off from 40 metres out.
He's the quintessential forward, isn't he, Glenn? He cannot be moved off the ball once the ball is sent toward him, and one-on-one there wouldn't be a stronger player probably in the competition.
No, very experienced, and he's on a good one this afternoon. Kyle Watts, we know he's a strong man as well, so an interesting ploy there. So ball back in the centre. Umpires this afternoon are umpires Robert Bennett, Brian Cohen, Stephen Pratt, who is in his 250th league game, so well done to him. A good effort from Stephen Pratt, and as we mentioned, there's also a milestone game for Matt Kimbley. He's playing his 100th game for Railways this afternoon.
And last week, Gabriel Parfitt notched up 100 with the Demons, Glenn.
That's right. So he's in his 101st game this afternoon, and he'll have to play at his best to win the ball forward. Ball back in the centre. Umpire Bennett puts it up. The big fellas go at it. Letessi gets the best of it, but it's picked up now by Matt Kimbley. Ball spills. Picked up by Letessia. He gets it out towards Clark. Clark for Railways can't do a lot with it. Kimberley goes back in, goes the way of a Railways player in Clark again. The ball spills, and eventually it comes back to Gabriel Parfitt, the 101 game man. Puts it on his boot, kicks it up towards half forward, and a good solid mark there taken by the Railways defender in Jesse Moore. Jesse Moore standing his ground at centre half back. 7 minutes gone. Quarter number 1. Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. We're doing it this first term for Warren Taylor Homes.
Now we see the ball go over to the Francis Street side of the ground, not far from the scoreboard. Railways, nothing up front as they chip it down away in defence. The ball comes back the way now of Railways, and they play on now across the back, looking for the youngster in Zimmerman, and he almost takes a strong mark, but outpointed by Drummond. Drummond now spins around, shoots on goal, up there in the goal square. A few players go up, and at the back of the pack, the ball is picked up. It looks like it was by, let's just see who that player was. It was Farron Parfitt, who was waiting at the back of the pack there, Glenn, and he roved it beautifully and put the second goal through the sticks for Rovers, and they have upped the ante somewhat in the still the early stages of the first term.
As I mentioned earlier, Peter, we saw Railways go forward in the first 5 minutes, and they kicked 3 behinds. Rovers have gone forward twice in the last 3 minutes, and they have kicked 2 goals. So very good, efficient play there. Shannon Cox got the first one and Farron Parfitt got the second one. So Railways are on notice. They're up against a pretty star-studded and talented Rovers side. But they'll go back to the centre. They'll try and do it all again. Letessia to do the rucking for Railways. Curley to do the rucking for Rovers. Umpire Cohen to get the ball into the air. 9 minutes gone in this first term. And the Mitchell and Brown ball is in the air now, and the big fellas go at it. Letessia gets the best of it again. Knocks it down, looking there for Jesse Adamini, who had his jumper held while he didn't have possession. So Adamini gets the free kick. Jesse Adamini, the star goal scorer. There goes the kick from Adamini. It's not a good kick. Goes straight to the arms of Dylan Curley for Rovers. Curley goes back in to retrieve it. Slaps the ball forward. It comes out to the Railways player in Peter Kimberley. Peter Kimberley gets it further afield and goes up towards the teammate now. Comes out, goes the way of the player there in Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders kicks it forward, and Ben Saunders can't get control of the ball. Comes back towards Rovers. Rovers trying to knock the ball through there through Jacob Troy. Eventually comes out, and Railways have it through Alex Newton. Newton kicks it towards full forward. Ball running free. Rovers would be best to knock it through, and that's exactly what they do. Another minus score for the Blues on the Adam Hunter Accountant scoreboard. It is Railways 4 behinds. They trail Rovers 2 goals straight.
I still think that the local players do not believe that they can run through goals in our competition, Glenn. They made hard work of it there, the Demons defenders. The ball with Jacob Troy now. Getting it from Simpson. That's Kobe Simpson down in front of our broadcast position. Up goes the player in Gabriel Parfitt. Game 101. He goes laterally now. The ball's still with the Demons. The youngster there picks it up. He sends it on down the wing. Rovers have a bit of speed here now, but the player decides to come back, doesn't use his speed, comes back the way now of the Rovers custodian in Chris Scott, the vice-captain. He sends it into the pocket for the Demons. Goes the way now of a couple of players, but Rovers have the run of the ball. They lose possession in front of the scoreboard. Eventually goes back the way of Simpson, who shoots on goal. It goes across the face and hits the post in the final analysis of that passage of play and is recorded as a minor score.
Adam Hunter scoreboard. Rovers are 2 goals, 1. Railways are 4 behinds. Well, Peter, before the game, I went up and shook what I thought was Matt Kimberley's hand and congratulated him on his 100th game. I hope it was Matt and not Peter, because Peter's wearing number 5 and Matt's wearing number 8.
I'm sure he would have told you.
Well, he might be just a polite young man. He might have thought, this bloke doesn't know much, because I am not Matt. But I think it was Matt, and I wished him well. But, yeah, it may have been Peter. Who knows? As we see, Railways have given away a free kick. Rovers are going to get a shot on goal, and a man who's very dangerous within 50 metres is their player who is their captain, Farron Parfitt. Can he get the third goal of the afternoon? As we see, Rovers are kicking to the city end in this term. Very warm conditions here at Warren Taylor Homes.
Looking at Farron Parfitt, Glenn, sorry to interrupt. Farron Parfitt, usually a very slim conveyance, but I'm not saying that he's put on weight in the bad way. He seems to put on a really lot of good muscle condition.
That's right. Of course, he had that bad ankle injury and probably laid up for a fair period of time. Played basketball at the end of the season.
He's got
there goes his kick. Another beautiful kick. So Farron Parfitt gets his second of the afternoon to this point, and a really good start to Rovers. And I'm sure that the coach, Ian Common, would be pretty pleased when he sees the scoreboard. 12 minutes gone in this first term, with thanks to Warren Taylor Homes. And on the scoreboard for Adam Hunter Accountants, we can see that Rovers are 3 goals won and Railways are 4 behind.
Glenn, the centre of the ground is becoming very important for Railways. Mitchell Boyle in the last couple of passages of play in the middle has been outpointed, so too Adamini. But when the ball gets to the full forward area for Rovers, their forwards are dominating. So Railways need to start getting on top again in the middle.
They certainly do, but they've got good people in there who know how it's done. So we'll see Ben Saunders lift his rating. We'll see Mitchell Boyle continue to work hard. And, of course, Jesse Adamini will continue to work hard. So they have got the troops there to get the job done. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out the second half of this very important first term. Ball back in the centre eventually. And the umpire Bennett will get the game underway once more. So umpire Bennett will see the ball into the air. And we'll see the Rovers big fellas go at it. This time, a good bit of play from Chris Scott. Knocks it to ground. Goes the way now of the Rovers player who's doing well there in Denham Ranger. Ranger gets the ball forward. Comes back in to retrieve it. Comes out towards Josh Simpson. In goes the hard-working Jager Williams. Shows good courage. Gets the ball out towards the centre. Looking there for a teammate. That teammate is Ben Saunders. The umpire says play on. Picked up now by young Messina. Messina kicks it forward. In goes the player coming off the half-back line there in Elliot Delaney. Ball roved again by the Rovers player in Glenn Prosser. He gets it forward and finds a teammate, and that teammate gets it up towards the full forward line.
And that's Drummond. He gets it up to Farron Parfitt, who's very dangerous in the early stages of this clash this afternoon, thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors and also Warren Taylor Homes for this particular quarter. The ball in their full forward area, forward pocket I should say, deep in attack now for the Demons. Farron Parfitt, as you said, coming back into the lineup after suffering injury last season. The ball goes away. Parfitt, he's tackled very high, Glenn. We could see that very clearly from here. And now Farron Parfitt will have a shot on goal from about 20 metres out. He gets up gingerly off the ground and hobbles a bit, but he's moving back in position to take the kick.
He doesn't actually look that good.
No, he doesn't. He's was almost coat-angered, you could say, Glenn.
Yes, I think the player knew straight away that he had done the wrong thing. I don't think it was anything deliberate.
It usually happens when a player ducks at the wrong time and a player comes over the top. Yeah, exactly.
And he was putting a good pressure on.
I don't think there was any malice intended at all.
And you can see that from the players. None of the players remonstrated.
Yeah.
They realised it was just a genuine
But not
mistake.
good, because if it is his ankle, I think that is where he's had his problems. Yeah, so that is a bit of a blow for the Demons if he can't return.
He's certainly not moving very well.
No, he's been very dangerous early, so that's not good. That's not good. But the free kick taken by Roland Drummond. He's kicked a few goals, mainly in reserves, Glenn.
Oh, he's a clever player.
He is a clever
player. Probably just his fitness that has kept him out of the senior footy for a lot of time.
Wearing number 28 on his back to the Augusta Street end, in through the pine trees. Will it go? No. Far too far to one side. 3 for the minor score, and that is the second blemish on the scoreboard for Rovers. They are 3-2, and they lead. Railways just the 4 points.
And, of course, round 6 this afternoon for Skeeters. And, of course, we'll be picking out our Skeeters contenders for the day.
We must thank Skeeters Restaurant for their patronage. They've been doing it for a few years now, Glenn.
They have, and you're looking after the better players for Rovers today,
okay,
Peter.
boss.
I'm looking after the Railways better players, and it'll be a really entertaining game, this one. Rovers are doing well. They're getting the score on the board. The efficiency, we saw it last night in AFL footy, where we saw a good performance early from Richmond. They got the score on the board.
It was a terrific game, wasn't it?
It was, and Swans came home like a German band and got the job done. So very exciting footy. Ball is on half forward now for Rovers once again, and Rovers get it forward through Glenn Prosser, the former Towns player who spent a season at Chapman Valley, now having a season at Rovers. Ball now with Kimberley. Kimberley gets a kick forward.
Very brave, Glenn.
That was Matt Kimberley to Peter Kimberley. I know the difference because they're wearing different jumpers. There goes Peter Kimberley's kick. He gets it up towards centre wing, and good mark taken there by Nathan Paletti. Nathan Paletti, the big man for the Blues, kicks it up towards another big fella, and Ryan Letessia, who played on awkwardly, but he eventually recovers, goes the way there of Messina. Messina kicks it in towards the forward line, looking there for Mitchell Boyle. He gets a handball away in the nick of time. Ball goes back in. Rovers player throws himself at the ball there in Jake Criddle, newcomer to the Rovers lineup. Goes the way now of Saunders. Ben Saunders gets it out towards Peter Kimberley. Peter Kimberley puts it on his left boot, kicks it towards the forward pocket, looking there for Jack Cocking. But the ball is out of bounds. There'll be a boundary throw in at the northern end, or the southern end of the WA Country Builders Stadium.
First time it's been up here for a little while, Glenn.
Yes.
As we get to the latter stages of the first term. At the Shenton Street end, the southern end of the recreation ground, in it comes now, goes away of Adamini. Nice little handball out of the pack, goes to Saunders, back the way of a teammate who puts it onto his boot, but he's dragged off the kick. And it shaves the post, actually. It didn't actually hit the post at all. It went through straight through the point where the points are, and that's another minor score for Railway. So, Rovers on top here in our Drennan O'Malley game day, Glenn. Can they keep the momentum up?
Yeah, but as you see, 5 scoring shots apiece, but Rovers have been accurate and efficient in front of goals. Rovers are 3-2. Railways 5 behinds. Ball comes out of defence now for Rovers. Ball comes the way of the Rovers defender. He gets it in towards centre half back, looking there for Gabriel Parfitt. He's got 3 to beat. Slaps it out. Ball comes the way of Mitchell Boyle. Boyle for Railways. Kicks it up towards full forward. Looking up there for Alex Newton. Ball carries that player. Goes back towards the player in Letessia. He slaps the ball out, looking for some space. Ball comes the way of Newton. Newton shoots on goal.
Good goal.
Railways get their first of the afternoon on the Adam Hunter accountant scoreboard.
He'd been lurking, Glenn. He'd been lurking.
Has. And Railways are 1-5. They trail Rovers 3-2. And you're tuned to Radio Mumma, the home of GNFL footy.
That was an important goal for Railways to stem the flow. Rovers were certainly getting on top as we near the first break here, thanks to Warren Taylor-Holmes and Alex Newton. He's a good in for the Blues in season 2022, and he scored a fine goal. He roved virtually off the pack and picked it up and put it straight onto his boot. Love to see goals like that on the run. The ball back in the middle now as we near the quarter-time break. Ball with umpire Pratt. Back in the middle. Great conditions for football, a good crowd in attendance as you expect, a good game this afternoon. The 6-6-6 rule, I think, has been brought into play, and a free kick has gone the way of Railways. So Rovers obviously not doing the righty there. The ball coming the way of Boyle. Takes a nice mark. Still inside the centre square. Tries to get away to
handball.
the player there in Messina. Messina was 6s and 7s. Eventually gets the ball. Puts it onto his boot up into the full forward area. Up into the air. Bit of a rainmaker. And a very brave mark, as you heard from Glenn Barndon there. The player under the ball. Gives it away to Adamini now. He has no time and certainly puts it onto his boot. Sends it inside the corridor there. Goes the way of the Railways goal sneak. But he's outpointed on this occasion. Back to the player there in Simpson. Simpson now off the half-back flank for Rovers. Sends it down the wing. He's looking for support from Dylan Curley. Dylan Curley can't take the mark. It's fisted away and rolls over the boundary in front of the Rovers dugout here at the recreation ground.
And we're into time on. 20 points have Rovers. 11 points have Railways. We're into time on in this first
Farron
term.
Parfitt's been worked on, Glenn, so he may come back.
Yes. With thanks to Warren Taylor-Holmes. The big fella goes at it in Curley. Ball roved by Simpson. Simpson kicks it up towards half forward. Railways keen to get the ball out of there. It's in the danger zone. Goes away of the player there in Dwayne Neville. And Dwayne Neville get caught in possession. And he was lucky he didn't connect when he threw that arm back. So Jesse Moore rewarded with a good free kick, a good strong tackle. Ball to be coming out now. Comes out of Railways defence. Goes the way of the player in Elliot Delaney. Elliot Delaney on half-back, playing a different role this
Yeah,
afternoon.
very different for Elliot, isn't it, Glenn?
But he did go forward a few moments ago and didn't get a kick away.
Oh, beautiful
good
mark.
From Ryan Letizia.
Oh, Jesus, beautiful.
Goes above the pack and takes a very, very strong mark. So Letizia is very prominent early. Gets it out wide and finds that man we were talking about in Delaney. Elliot Delaney comes across the ground, looking there for Riley Zimmerman. Lot to like about the way he plays his game. Zimmerman goes back and retrieves. Goes the way of the player there in Williams. Williams kicks it up towards centre wing. Good bit of play there for Newton. Slaps it out. Gets it out there to Corey Clark. Clark kicks the ball
nice
forward,
mark.
but the ball is cut off there, and Jamie Greer doing the work for Rovers defence.
Somewhat unheralded, Jamie Greer, Glenn. I think he did okay in the fairest and best votes for the Demons last season at their club awards. So he has a good player, but the ball comes back in now, goes the way of Johnny Narkle. He spins around, puts it onto his boot, but he is not accurate and goes through again for the minor score. So putting on the pressure in the dying stages of the first term are the Blues, but Rovers still holding sway here in our Drennan O'Malley game day. The ball coming back from Kobe Simpson. He's figured quite a bit today in passages of play. I'd like to see him mark the ball instead of fisting it away. A lot of times he's able to do that. Let's see what he can do as the game develops. Kobe Simpson to the outer side, the
Good
Francis
mark.
Street side of the ground, but up goes the Railways player and takes a nice mark.
Tommy Rowe.
Tom Rowe, of course, the former Mullawall boy. He's still a Mullawall boy, but playing for Railways. Sends it inboard now and, unopposed. Out he goes and takes a nice mark. And Jack Cocking. He puts it onto his boot, sends it to a player also that is unmarked. And that player is Casey Clark, and he takes a mark just inside the forward 50. Not far from our broadcast position. We're right behind him as we speak, kicking toward the Shenton Street or southern end of the recreation ground. Casey Clark, I think he's played all games this season. A nice kick into the half-forward area. Won't make the distance. Comes off hands. Will it be knocked through? Yes, the Rovers defender does what he should be doing. And that player there is Bo Simpson. And ensures it goes through for the minor score. So Railways really putting on the pressure at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly are. So they're wasting opportunities, though, Peter, having a lot of shots on goal. Not showing a lot of efficiency, but that's probably a lot to do with Rovers' defence and the pressure they're putting on as Kobe Simpson brings it out and finds the hard-working player there in Roland Drummond. Roland Drummond on half-back. It's a short kick away and finds Chris Scott. Chris Scott on half-back. 23 minutes gone in this first term with thanks to Warren Taylor-Holmes. 7 points the margin in favour of the Blues. And he goes right across the face of goal. Came out okay. Rovers had it again through Kobe Simpson. He runs down the middle of the ground, kicks it up towards half-forward. Railways have the numbers, but Rovers have the skill. Goes the way of Gabriel Parfitt. Goes back by hand and finds the teammate there in Denham Ranger. Ranger puts it on his left boot, shoots towards goal, but he's offline. And on the Adam Hunter Accountants scoreboard, we can see that Rovers go to 3 goals, 3-21. They lead Railways 1 goal, 7-13.
Time ticking away. The siren should go at any moment now to announce it is quarter time as the ball goes to the far side. Now Railways have it as they get out of danger once again. Cocking coming right down the ground to get a taste of the action. Comes inboard now. There is Kimberley. Kimberley now, what will he do? He'll send it inboard. He looking there for the player there in Jagger Williams. Williams doesn't get it on the first attempt, collects it on the second, gets it across now to Bunter. Bunter wearing the helmet. He's tackled to the ground. The umpire says
Didn't have the ball.
He didn't have the ball, but the umpire also let the play on because with the advantage of the Demons. The ball goes away now of Curley. Curley onto his boot into the half-forward area, and Shannon Cox goes up and takes a, textbook mark, you could say, Glenn. You could see that at any textbook for Australian rules football. Hands out in front, up in the air, and takes a nice mark at 45 degrees, and he is only about 20 metres out.
So here he goes. Can he get his second goal of the afternoon and extend the lead for the Demons as we head towards quarter time? Entertaining first quarter of footy. 7 scoring shots for Rovers and 8 scoring shots for Railways. But Rovers, if Shannon can kick this goal, will have a comfortable break heading into the first break. There goes the kick from Shannon Cox. Goal umpire signals all clear, and that's a goal. And Rovers get their 4th of the afternoon. Shannon gets his 2nd, and Rovers are 4 goals, 3-27. They lead Railways 1 goal, 7-13. And Shannon Cox has started very well. He's on a good one this afternoon, but it looks like he's set for a good afternoon. Shannon Cox gets 2 goals for the day. To this point, Farron Parfitt has 2, while for Railways, their single goal is from Alex Newton.
Yes, Shannon Cox has come to play today, Glenn, and we know what he's capable of. And that he has kicked 2 from 2. Of course, the other goal for Rovers, I should say, coming from Farron Parfitt, who has left the ground, but he is getting some work done to him then, so maybe he will be back before this game is out, or this half is out, one would think. He is down in front of us, hasn't gone up the race.
He's still on the bench, isn't he?
He certainly is, so he could come back into the game. He is, of course, the captain of the Demons. The ball up into the air now, goes away. Gabriel Parfitt gets it out of the pack, picked up now by Chris Scott. He uses his speed, goes right across the back end of the ground to the Francis Street side, puts it onto his boot, sends it down the wing. He's looking for the player there in Curley. Curley doesn't get it on the first attempt. On the second, he comes inboard now. Mark and he will be timely for Rovers, and a nice mark is eventually taken by the player there in Dylan Curley.
Dylan Curley from 70 metres, kicks
Nice
it up
big
towards
kick.
full forward, looking again for Cox, carries that player, goes the way of Dwayne Neville. Dwayne Neville sees the ball across the boundary line. There'll be a boundary throw in deep in the left forward pocket at the city end of WA Country Warren Taylor Holmes Recreation Ground. So many acronyms these days.
There
the ball
is,
comes back into play. Ooh, Shannon Cox gets tackled, but he's good enough to get the ball out. Comes back towards the player there in Jesse Adamini for Railways. He kicks it up the ground, looking there for the hard-running player there who is Corey Clark. Corey Clark got one high, and Corey Clark, that ball will be reversed. Corey Clark caught one. The umpire saw that, and he'll take, I think he might give someone a card here. I don't think it'll be the guy that, see what the umpire's doing. He's waiting for it. It's going to be a 50-metre penalty.
Yellow card
to
Gabriel Parfitt.
And I think the Railways bloke was pretty lucky he didn't get the yellow card, to be quite honest.
He was very late. That's the thing with
there's no doubt that
the
free kick was there. There's no doubt about that. But usually in this day and age, it's the player that retaliates is the one that is...
well, maybe he should have been sent off as well.
The third player coming in is usually the player that gets the thing thrown at him. And I'm not saying that Gabriel shouldn't have got one, but I think there was another card that could have been given to the opposition player at that.
And it's right in front of us, Glenn. We saw the whole thing, really, didn't we?
Yeah, there's no doubt. The free kick was there and the card was there, but the player that comes in, you have to be very, very careful in that. And that's where things
And you
escalate.
wonder really how hard the whack was, because the player with the ball now is the player that received it, and he looks pretty okay to me.
There goes the kick from Corey Clark. He kicks it up the ground, looking for centre wing. Finds the Rovers player, takes a good mark in Jamie Greer. But there's the siren. Quarter time of the football on a very, very beautiful day for football. Round 6 it is of the GNFL Premiership season for Active West Real Estate. And looking at the Adam Hunter scoreboard at quarter time, Rovers will be pretty happy. Rovers are 4-3-27. They lead Railways 1-7-13. And you're tuned to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. friends are bringing you all the action this afternoon on Radio Mama. We're the home of GNFL football. It's round 6 for Skeeters, and today we're at Warren Taylor Homes Recreation Ground in beautiful conditions with the two top sides going at it and doing a pretty good job at the moment. In earlier games today, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, in the Colts, Rovers were good winners over Railways, as they were in the reserves. The women game to follow this one. The other game being played at GBSC Sports Park today, third place Brigades hosting sixth place Chapman Valley. And we can tell you at quarter time in the league game, Brigades 4-4-28 lead, Chapman Valley 3 behinds. But in our broadcast game here at the Recreation Ground this afternoon for Warren Taylor, Brigades 4-3-27, lead Railways 1-7-13, a 14-point margin. Our quarter-by-quarter summaries with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. For Rovers, Shannon Cox has kicked 2 goals. Farron Parfitt has kicked 2 goals for Rovers, while for Railways, Alex Newton has kicked 1 goal. Contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day, Peter. You are looking after the Rovers side this afternoon. Who did you enjoy in that first
Glenn,
term?
they've shared it around quite a bit, the Demons, as I was going through their list. Gabriel Parfitt's been in it, Shannon Cox, Cody Simpson in defence, Dylan Curley, he's been okay in the middle and out on the wing. Roland Drummond, I liked his game, and also Jamie Greer in defence.
And looking at Railways, I thought Ryan Letessia looking the goods in the ruck. Jesse Adamani and Mitchell Boyle in the midfield. Riley Zimmerman and Tom Rowe working hard in defence. We're underway in this second term with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Wall run out of the centre by Boyle. Boyle feeds a handball out, looking for Adamini, his partner in crime. The ball spills out. Rovers are there, slaps it forward, does the Rovers player. Once again, Boyle gets it out. Looking out there for Kimberley. Ball comes out to Gear. He gives it away by hand. Finds the hard-running Railways player there in Glenn Prosser. He uses his skill and his pace, takes his third bounce now. Glenn Prosser centres the ball and picks out a teammate, but beautiful bit of play from Moore. Jesse Moore slaps the ball forward. In goes Dwayne Neville. He gets a handball forward, but in goes Boyle again. And a good bit of play there from Railways. Railways have it there through the player in Blake Messina. Messina comes across the half-back line, gets it up towards centre wing where he finds Jack Cocking.
Jack Cocking puts it inboard now. Can Railway set up a scoring opportunity here as the ball goes forward? The whistle sounds, and I think a free kick may be taken up ground here.
It will, yes.
So a player was dealt with after he got rid of the ball.
Too late.
Yes, and so the ball will come down. It'll be a shot on goal for Johnny Narkle. So not a good start for the Demons, but a good start for Railways all the same. Johnny Narkle, he's been brought into this side as a goal snake, so let's see if he can pay some dividends with this kick. He's going to be about 25 to 30 metres out, maybe 25 metres out when he gets onto this one. Kicking on a slight angle toward the Augusta Street end. Johnny Narkle, wonder if he'll play for the Bucks tonight. Big game they have. And a straight through the middle. So Johnny Narkle puts only the second goal on the board in this game for Railway. So 2-7, and they trail Rovers 4-3. A little bit disappointed in the game so far in the forward area by Dwayne Neville, Glenn. He seems to be just a little bit too slow and a bit too late to the ball, but I'm sure he's a better player than that.
Well, we know he's a fine player, but he just doesn't look very fit, does he?
No.
And, and when you're playing a side like Railways, a good bit of play there from Jesse Moore. He got a fist to it and really knocked the ball away from Dwayne, who looked like he was going to take the mark easily, but Jesse Moore, an experienced campaigner, slapped the ball away with a big fist, and it got the ball out of the danger zone very, very quickly. So the ball back in the centre in this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. And on the scoreboard for New Fab Equipment, we can see that Rovers are 4-3-27. Railways working their way back, 2-7-19. So ball back in the centre with umpire Cohen, and the ruckman go at it again. This time it's the Rovers youngster, Blake Taswell, up against Letessia. The ball goes the way of Blake Messina for Railways. He gives a handball to Mitchell Boyle, who puts it on his left boot, kicks it up towards half forward. But once again, Rovers working their way out of defence through Chris Scott, who gets it to a teammate there in Joshua Simpson. Josh Simpson finds Greer. He breaks out of the centre half-back area and kicks it up towards the centre wing, but once again Blake Messina's there for Railways. On hands and knees, he was tackled while he didn't have possession, so Blake Messina has the ball on centre wing, Francis Street side. Steadies it now, kicks it away of Elliot Delaney on half forward. Elliot Delaney for the Blues, kicks it up towards full forward, looking there for an opportunity. Ball comes to the ground, goes the way of Chris Scott, who reads it well. gets it out to a teammate there in Jacob Troy. Jacob Troy goes by hand to the player in Joseph Ugle. Ball running free after Ben Saunders puts the slipper in. Pack develops. Umpire says, get it out, boys. Eventually they try to, but they can't. And umpire Cohen at the 4-minute mark of this second term will come in and throw the ball up on the true centre-half forward spot for Rovers. 19 plays 27 in favour of the Demons.
Listening to Radio Mum, the home of GNFL football. Congratulations to Melissa Price retaining the seat of Durack. She's the sponsor of this particular term. Heading back to Canberra tomorrow for a new parliament. The ball in the middle of the ground is with Railways now as they start off this quarter as they did the last, peppering their forward 50, but at least they've got reward for effort with a goal already on the board. The ball now with Rowe. Rowe now kicks it inboard, and Saunders, unmatched up or unmarked, takes the mark. The veteran puts it onto his boot. It's a nice big kick into the full forward area. Up they go, over the back of the pack, goes the way of Railways, who, with two players, eventually put it through for a fine goal. And that looked like it was Antonio Parolo in the end, I think. Glenn?
Number 7.
Yes, they got that ball, but it was a nice passage of play by Railways, waiting over the back of two players that went up for the ball. And there's a bit of to-do.
Another free kick going away. So we see a free kick. There was something happened after that. We were expecting the ball to come back to the centre, but I don't think the ball will be coming back to the centre. Looks like Railways get another shot on goal, perhaps. So we'll see a free kick's been picked out, and I don't know exactly what happened, but the free kick will go again to Antonio Priolo. So he's going to kick 2 goals in 30 seconds. So pretty handy situation for him and his side. So there, without the ball going back to the centre, Antonio Priolo gets his second goal in as many minutes. So Antonio Priolo, 2 goals on the board, and he wouldn't believe it that he could get a goal so easy after kicking the first one. So on the scoreboard now, we start to see Railways tick over nicely with 3 goals in the opening 5.5 minutes. And this time the ball looks like it'll come back to the centre without a free kick being paid.
They've taken the lead now, Glenn.
Yeah, this is the first time they've held the lead.
Trailed by 14 points at quarter time. And now lead by 4.
Yes, on the scoreboard for New Fab Equipment at the 5.5 minute mark of this second term, it is Railways. 4 goals, 7-31 to Rovers. 4 goals, 3-27. So Antonio Priolo joins the double goal scorers very, very quickly. He gets his second goal of the afternoon, and Railways 4th. Ball back in the centre. Comes the way now of the player there in Ben Saunders, the hard-working captain. Grabs the ball, kicks it out wide, looking out there for Cocking, also looking for Priolo, but the ball goes across the boundary line and about 30 metres to the south of the scoreboard. The free kick's been picked out and go the way of Jack Cocking.
Jack Cocking. New goal sneak for the Blues. Puts it onto his boot. It's a nice, high, wide and handsome kick into the full forward area. No one can mark the ball. Goes away of Bo Simpson for Rovers. He tries to get it out to a teammate. Eventually they get it out to Scott now. Scott has a bit of room. He'll run with the ball. He bounces it once, twice in front of the Railways faithful. He shows them the piece of yellow leather as he puts it onto his boot and sends it down the wing, but he didn't direct it too well as Simpson tries to come in and take the mark. Running through is the player there in Williams. He's unlucky. He loses possession. The ball goes back the way now of Simpson. That's Simpson for Railways. Back to Saunders now. Saunders sends it inside the corridor and through comes Cocking and takes another mark. So in as many moments now, Railways have had so many shots on goal, and now Cocking will go for his second goal of the afternoon. And young Cocking, he'll kick from about 35 metres when he gets onto this one, directly in front at the Augusta Street end.
Yeah, 4 goals in 7 minutes will be the story if he gets this one. Jack Cocking from 30 metres out directly in front. You'd be inclined to think he'll do this easily. Hardly a breath of breeze here at Warren Taylor Homes Recreation Ground this afternoon. Beautiful conditions for football, but Jack is not online on this occasion. And he's kicked the ball through for a minus score. So another wasted opportunity for the Blues. Railways are 4 goals, 8-32. They lead Rovers 4 goals, 3-27.
Let off the hook the Demons with that one, Glenn.
They have, and when you look at the amount of scoring shots, but the players putting pressure on themselves, so the ball will be brought in shortly by the Rovers defenders, and Railways doing well, particularly in the second term. They have kicked the opening 3 goals of the term, so you can't ask for more than that. this term with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. Ball comes out through Simpson. Short pass and picks out a player there in Blake Tazwell. Tazwell gets the kick away, looking there for Joey Ugle. Joseph Ugle is the player with the ball on half-back, just in front of the Railways club rooms. Goes back to Tazwell. Tazwell has the ball, looking for some movement. He gets some, but Railways in the best position, but well roved by Ugle. Ugle breaks through the centre wing, kicks it up towards Josh Simpson. Simpson a little bit out of touch, goes the way there, finds Kimberley, the 100-gamer. Matt Kimberley gets it out towards Boyle. Boyle gets it out towards Moore. Moore goes out wide and finds the player there in Jack Cocking. Jack Cocking on centre wing, out of side. Kicks it up towards full forward, looking up there for a teammate in Newton. Ball spills out, comes back towards Blake Messina for Railways. Messina screws the ball around after he runs through a tackle, gets it forward, and a good mark taken there by the Rovers defender. Railways player there, I should say, in Tristan Simpson. And Tristan Simpson has marked. And Tristan Simpson will shoot on goal, usually a defender. So he's deep in the pocket in front of the New Fab scoreboard, which sees Railways leading by 5 points, 32-27. Tristan Simpson trying to tell Matt Powell that I'm a forward and you should leave me up here all day. Let's see how he goes. There goes a kick from Tristan Simpson. Looks pretty good. Yep. Didn't do his resume any bad problems there, because that was a beautiful kick from Tristan Simpson. Railways get their fourth of the term, and a good start to them in this second term. And Railways peppering away at the goals and getting them now. Railways are 5-8. They lead Rovers 4-3.
The momentum has well and truly swung in favour of Railways in the early stages of the second term, with 10 minutes gone in this particular quarter, 10 and a half minutes that is. They have a reasonable lead in the context of this particular match, Glenn, and I implore people, if they are listening to radio tomorrow afternoon, to tune into Radio Mama. Friends are on Sunday. We'll be replaying an interview we had with Jaden Schofield tomorrow.
Yeah, very insightful interview. Jaden Schofield went over to play with the Western Bulldogs as a very young man, and he has a very entertaining and interesting story to tell of how he found that changeover. The ball comes out of the centre again. No surprise, Railways get it out of the centre. A beautiful bit of play there from the Kimberley brothers. Peter got it over to Matt, and Matt got it further up the field to Jack Cocking. Jack Cocking is 52 metres out from goal, and we saw him miss one from a lot closer than this, but he will go back and see how he goes. It'd be right at the edge of his kicking, you would think, but if he can kick a goal from 50 metres...
I think he can roost them, Glenn.
Let's see how he goes. He's a pretty clever young man. Let's see how he goes. Jack Cocking lining up for goal, kicking to the northern end of the ground, and he has roosted it too. Beautiful kick, and that is a goal.
Oh,
well done, Jack Cocking.
Goal.
Jack Cocking kicked the hard one, and he did it very, very well indeed. Jack Cocking gets his first of the afternoon, gets Railways 6, and on the New Fab Equipment scoreboard, Railways are 6 goals 8. They lead Rovers 4-3, and you're tuned to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
The mini-me Charlie Curnow strikes again. That's a wonderful goal. A bit like the goal that was scored last night at the SCG, and when the Swans took the lead to come barnstorming home in a win over Richmond. A great game it was indeed. And Buddy Simpson got a Buddy Franklin, I should say, got a fine goal, and it was a roosted one like that, but almost on the run last night, which was pretty much a hallmark of his particular game. The ball back in the middle now, and Railways, they go further ahead on the scoreboard.
5 goals in the first 12 and a half minutes.
Yes, they certainly have dominated, Glenn. The ball back now. Can Rovers answer the challenge? The ball up into the air. Curley wins it on this occasion. Goes to ground, but Adamini is there. Back to Curley. It's a bit of a basketball match as Curley throws it up into the air, slaps it back, goes away of Kimberley now, onto his boot, into the full forward area. But the mark is taken there by Simpson. Bo Simpson, moving from Railways back to the Demons in season 2022. He kicks to the outer side, looking for support out there, but the player wasn't sure it was going out there. Everyone else saw the telegraph except for him. The ball goes the way of Railways now. Up the line, it goes to Messina. Messina doesn't put a good kick in, but it goes, fortunately, the way of his teammates into the half-forward area. Soccered through. It goes the way of Cocking. He tries to soccer it further afield. Picked up by the Demons defender now. He fumbles with the ball, goes to ground. That's Jamie Greer. Won't let it out of his keeping. He dives on top of the ball. He's being contested well and truly, very strongly with as the ball comes out now, goes the way of Moore, puts it onto his boot, snaps it goal, but Jesse Moore misses all in sundry, and the ball is out on the full.
So the ball will be brought back into play by the Rovers defence, and Rovers under a heap of pressure now. Railways have really started this second term full of running. Johnny Narkle kicked one, then Antonio Priolo kicked two, then a goal to Tristan Simpson, then a beautiful 50-metre goal from Jack Cocking. Umpire has played the whistle, and he's picking out who's going to get a free kick here. And in fact, it might be thrown up, not too sure. Waiting on the ball to return. So the game is held up while the players go and search for the ball. So just repeating, 14 minutes gone in the second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. And Railways are 6-8-44. They lead Rovers 4-3-27. As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. And at quarter time out at GBSC Sports Park, Brigades 4-4-28 lead Chapman Valley 3 behinds. And of course the round concludes tomorrow at Mullawar, with Mullawar hosting Northampton. And Northampton expected to win the game, but Mullawar a real threat if they play their best footy. There's no doubt about that. The ball comes the way of Simpson, the defender. Kobe gets the ball up the ground, picks out a teammate. A teammate plays on now, high up into the centre wing area. Gabriel Parfitt takes a good strong mark, under a bit of pressure there from Elliot Delaney. Gabriel Parfitt goes inboard, finds Dwayne Neville, and Dwayne Neville on halfback.
Dwayne Neville off the half-back flank now, sends it inboard, ill-directed kick, goes straight down the throat of his opposite number there, and Tristan Simpson. Simpson backward to the centre, puts it onto his boot into the half-forward area. Player almost on his lonesome, and he did take the mark, a nice mark in the end, and Alex Newton, like his games so far that we've seen this year, sends it into the half-forward area, and the mark, it looks like it's taken by Adamini.
Yes, it is.
So Adamini, he is a likely customer, especially in season 2022. He now will have a shot on goal, and Railways really have turned the tables on the Demons here in the second term. And it's almost a reflection of the Demons' performance in the first quarter, as Adamini will kick from the Francis Street side, just in front of the scoreboard, which sees his side leading now by 15 points. The kick's not a bad one. Goes across the face of goal. Is the mark taken? No. It's dragged through for the minor score, and Rovers will relieve the pressure through Kobe Simpson.
Kobe Simpson plays on quickly, goes the way of Chris Scott, and Chris Scott may have hurt himself a little when he went for that mark. Chris Scott gets himself back up, and he's waiting to get the recovery he needs to kick the ball. He does so now. Kicks it up towards centre wing, looking there for Joshua Ugle. Ugle takes a good mark.
The ball comes inboard now, and it goes away now of Dylan Curley. Curley now, he sends the ball into the half-forward area. It's a nice kick. Will it be marked by the full forward for Rovers? He can't take the ball into his possession. The ball spills free. The defender for Railways does the better of that in Rowe. Gets it to a teammate. It goes the way of Kimberley. Kimberley to Kimberley and back to Rowe. Rowe across the half-back line. He's just outside the centre square. Can he run onto it? That's Saunders, but Simpson has other ideas. That's Bo Simpson. They both tussle for the ball. Getting onto the ground, they dive on top of the piece of leather, and the umpire blows the whistle and says, Saunders, you're caught in possession, and the free kick will go the way of Kobe Simpson. Bo Simpson, I should say.
Bo Simpson with the ball on his left boot. He kicks it up towards half forward, finds a Rovers player all on his own there in young Clay Azevedo. He gets it up the ground looking for a teammate, and he's found him, and Rovers have an opportunity to stem the tide to some extent. Glenn Prosser is a young player who has received the free kick, and Glenn Prosser lining up for a much-needed goal for Rovers. 17 and a half minutes gone in this second term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. And in this term, Rovers haven't added to their tally, so they're hoping that Glenn Prosser can get the goal through. He's 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle, kicking to the southern end. There goes Prosser's kick. Looks pretty good off the boot. Goal umpire signals all clear, and Rovers get a much-needed goal. And on the new Fab equipment scoreboard, Rovers go to 5 goals, 33. They trail Railways 6-9-45.
Then Prosser moving into the Demons' Den in season 2022. He certainly is a good player in the midfield, Glenn, and on that occasion he certainly found position, took a nice mark and finished off with a nice goal. A much-needed goal, you could say, for the Demons in the early stages. I should say the middle stages of the second term. As we head toward half-time, 18 and a half minutes gone in the second quarter, thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Back in the middle now with umpire Cohen. Players setting themselves. It's been a real tussle in the middle this afternoon. It's been a pleasure to watch some of the GNFL's better players at the moment. In form, the ball coming out of the middle, talking about in form. Mitchell Boyle gets it out of the pack, comes the way of Saunders back to Boyle. He's pulled off the ball, but he gets it onto his boot. He sends it into the half-forward area. There's Cocking. He's got 2 to beat. He cleverly knocks it forward to a teammate who can't collect it. The ball spills free. Cocking has another bite of the cherry. The ball goes to ground. The defender dives on top of it in Jamie Greer. He has 2 bites of the cherry as well. Gets it to a teammate in Troy. Troy in turn gets it to Simpson. Simpson onto his boot, down the wing. He's looking for support down there. He's looking for Simpson as well. That's Josh Simpson, but he doesn't collect the ball. It goes the way now of Railways. They put it into the middle of the ground. The player there is Corey Clark. Clark onto his boot. He goes over to Adamini. Adamini in turn sends it into the half-forward area. Can they set something up? The player there is Elliot Delaney. Puts it onto his boot, good spins kick around, and Elliot Delaney has scored another goal for Railways, and they certainly are answering everything that the Demons can throw at them at the moment.
They certainly are, and a good bit of play there from Delaney. And we see Railways have really had a wonderful quarter. They have kicked 6 goals in this term. In fact, 7 goals in this term. So a really strong quarter. 7 goals. And we're heading into time on. So 7 goals to 1 in this second term. So the New Fab scoreboard is looking pretty good for New Fab equipment and for Railways. Railways are 7-9 and Rovers are 5-3. So an interesting scoreline. In fact, I think the people on the scoreboard haven't actually...
Should be 8-9?
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
So they've had...
too many goals. I've lost count.
Yeah, 17 shots to 8, Glenn. So Railways getting into their forward 50 far more often than their opponents. The ball going the way of Adamini. He's one of the reasons for that. So to his Boyle. Adamini cleverly tries to knock the ball around in front of him.
The scoreboard is correct. The scoreboard is... So there's been 6 goals from Railways, Glenn, 1 goal from Rovers.
Okay, then. Yeah. So I trust you, Glenn, and you let me down.
Well, I'm not that good at maths, Peter, I must admit.
The ball back in the middle now. Umpire Pratt throws it up. Up they go. It's knocked down by Curley. He's been rucking well this afternoon for his side. Goes away of Rovers. They can play on now as it goes away of Simpson into the half-forward area. Out comes Drummond, and I've liked his game this afternoon. He's got good, strong hands, Glenn, and he didn't let his teammate down on that occasion and took a nice mark. He's on a pretty tight angle as he kicks in front of the... Roland Drummond as he kicks in front of the canteen area here this afternoon, not far from our broadcast position for Radio Mama. So Roland Drummond kicking toward the Shenton Street or southern end, a much needed goal for the Demons. It's our second kick at the big sticks in this term, and it's a beautiful kick.
Beautiful kick.
Goes straight through the middle. Roland Drummond doesn't let the Demons down. That is their 6th goal of the afternoon. They are 6-3. They travel Railways 7-9. And gee, Glenn, this is... well, it's looking to be one of the better games that we've seen so far this year.
Yeah, a lot of skill out there, and just Roland Drummond just showed what a quality player he was. That was a very difficult shot.
Oh, he weighted it, didn't he?
Yeah,
he weighted it exactly right.
And he knew exactly what he was trying to do, and he got it through. So a good setup there as we head into the time-on period in this second term. Drennan O'Malley Motors game day, the 2 top sides going at it. And we saw Railways set up a very good quarter with the first 5 goals. But to their credit, Rovers have kicked 2 of the last 3. So they're still in the contest, but they'd like the next one before half-time, or the next 2. The ball comes back to the centre. The big fellas go at it. Rove beautifully by Ben Saunders. He feeds it out towards Mitchell Boyle. Mitchell Boyle wins it out of the centre again for the Blues. Kicks it up there, looking there for Elliot Delaney, but Elliot Delaney has interfered with the Rovers defender, Bo Simpson. Bo Simpson has the ball on half-back, decides to go out to the Francis Street side of the ground, picks out a teammate there, and that's Ganza. Ganza has the ball on half-back. Big kick now up towards centre wing, and a good mark taken by Joseph Hugo. Tony O'Priolo has kicked 2. Johnny Narkle 1. Tristan Simpson 1. Jack Cocking 1. Elliot Delaney 1. In fact, Alex Newton has now kicked 3. So Alex Newton has done very well for himself. He had kicked 2 goals in that quarter. Had an opportunity to kick his 3rd. He couldn't do it. For Rovers, their goal scorers, Shannon Cox has 3. Farron Parfitt, who's injured and left the ground with what we believe is maybe a rare occurrence of his ankle injury. He has 2 goals. Glenn Prosser has 1. And Roland Drummond kicked a beauty as well. So a good situation. Contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day, Peter. You're looking after the Rovers players. Who have you enjoyed in the first 3 quarters and who is in contention?
Well, the 2 Simpson boys in defence. Glenn have played a wonderful game for the Demons. Prosser too, I've liked his game, and Ugle and Scott are amongst Rovers' better players up until the 3-quarter time.
Looking at Railway's better players, I thought Ryan Letessia in the ruck, Jesse Adamani, Mitchell Boyle in the midfield. In defence, Tom Rowe, Riley Zimmerman and Jesse Moore. And across the centre, Ben Saunders and Corey Clark. Free kick has been awarded early stages of this final term with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. And Gabriel Parfitt gets it up the ground, finds Glenn Prosser. Glenn Prosser, an athletic type player, plays good footy, gets it up towards half forward. Rovers trying to get the quick goal on, put the pressure back on the Blues. Ball running free, runs into the pocket, does Dwayne Neville, sees the ball across the boundary line. Well, not quite. Picked up now by Joshua Simpson. He screws the ball around the corner, and that would have been a goal and a half, and it wasn't far off.
It wasn't far off at all.
Good effort there from Josh Simpson on his left boot. We know what talent he has, and Josh Simpson gets Rovers 6 behind of the afternoon. So on the scoreboard for New Fab Equipment, we can tell you that Rovers are 7-6-48. They trail Railways 9-10-64.
And Gabriel Parfitt to the better players up until 3-quarter time as well, Glenn. The vice captain. Zimmerman comes out of defence, sends it to the outer side, marked by another clever youngster. And that player moves on forward now. And I'm talking about Jack Cocking. Cocking sends it inboard. He's looking for support. Has to run after the ball himself. But the Rovers defender does better in the end. Goes back way of Bo Simpson now. Bo puts it on his boot. He sends it out to centre wing on the Floors Road. Floors Road, let's try the Francis Street side of the ground, with the recreation ground this afternoon. The whistle does sound. And it looks like it's over the boundary. Almost right in the middle of the ground. It's centre wing on the Francis Street side. Beautiful conditions for football. The breeze has not even come in this afternoon, Glenn, so it is just absolutely magic. In comes the ball now. Players setting themselves, knocked away by the Rovers ruckman. Goes to ground. They try and collect it on this occasion. I'm talking about the youngster there in Ranger. He runs over the top of the ball. The ball goes back the way of Rovers now. Can they do something with it? Another goal would be exciting for the climax of this particular game as the ball goes forward now for the Demons inside the forward 50. Can they set something up? Goes one way, then the other. The defence for Railways working overtime. The player there who got the ball in, Corey Clark, was almost caught in possession, but he gets it onto his boot. The ball spills free right in front of our broadcast position, though. It is eventually picked up by Elliot Delaney. Puts it onto his boot and sends it into the half-forward area. The ball moves inside the corridor. Railways can score here if Cocking can get the bounce kindly, but he doesn't. It bounces better for Kobe Simpson. He comes out of defence and kicks it to his brother, Bo.
Bo back to Kobe. Kobe gets it up the ground, finds a teammate there in Delton Jones. Jones goes by hand to Kobe. Kobe Simpson, that is, short pass by hand to Prosser. Prosser by hand, and he's overdone it perhaps. But no, Chris Scott is still there, fighting hard for the ball. Handballs it out. In goes young Corey Clark. A pack develops. Umpire saying, play on. Get the ball out, gents. And eventually the ball is held in, and the umpire, in his 250th game, Stephen Pratt, will come in and throw up the ball right on the 50-metre line on the canteen side of the recreation ground. So umpire Pratt puts the ball into the air, and this time it's won by Chris Scott. Wins it to ground, and the Rovers player there has the ball held to him. That's Jack, who has the ball?
Jake Criddle.
Jake Criddle with the ball. So Jake Criddle with the ball, and the ball goes the way of
the grandson of the great Jeff Criddle, who played a few games for the Demons.
That's right. The ball in the centre line now, on the centre forward position. Kick there, it was cut off. Rovers going forward in Denham Ranger.
He should have goaled that one.
And he missed it from a very close range. And all of a sudden, Railways have the ball on the half full back flank. Rovers are claiming there was deliberate. So the ball will be thrown back into play on the Francis Street side. So the ball to come back into play. And it's with the boundary umpire on that far side. Nathan Paletti doing the rucking for Railways and Dylan Curley doing the rucking for Rovers.
64 plays 48, Glenn, favour of Railways.
Curley gets the ball slapped down, goes the way now of the player there in Denham Ranger, kicks it up towards full forward, but nobody home for Rovers. And once again they mop up through Kimberley, who goes the way of Jager Williams. Williams goes for the sanctuary of the boundary line, and the ball will be thrown back into play. And the umpire called for the deliberate. So the Rovers players bring the ball back in. Goes the way of Prosser. Prosser kicks it in towards centre half forward. And a good mark taken there by the young man in Blake Messina. Messina decides to go out wide. Jack Cocking is all on his Pat Malone. And Jack Cocking grabs the ball now. Gets a short pass forward and finds the hard-running player there in Antonio Priolo. Priolo kicks it further afield, looking for Jesse Adamini. Adamini has the ball in the forward pocket, just in the shadows of the scoreboard. Short pass, and he picks out Peter Kimberley, running with the flight of the ball. And Peter Kimberley can shoot on goal and spread the margin. 64 plays 48 in favour of the Blues, with Railways shooting on goal from 35 metres right on the boundary. Pete Kimberley is the player with the ball.
He certainly is done on a tight angle, but a lot of the Railways players would shoot from there during training toward the Augusta Street end. Looks pretty good off the boot, or does it? Straight up into the air. No, it isn't. Isn't a good sider at all as the ball drops down in front of the goals. The defenders for Rovers working hard to get it out, but Railways keeping it in their keeping as they go toward the boundary now. In the full forward area for the Railways side, the ball finds the boundary. In fact, it's deliberately put over the boundary, and Jamie Gear will have the recipients of the free kick. The ball goes across the backward defensive area of Rovers to the outer side. Can the Demons get a quick goal on the board and make this game very interesting? Let's see what they can do. On the half-back flank, it's with Curley. He in turn sends it further afield and finds a player there in Prosser. Prosser plays it down the line. Can they set something up? The boys with Troy. Troy puts it onto his boot into the full-foot area. He's looking for Dwayne Neville, but he's outpointed by his younger and fitter opponent in Zimmerman. Puts it onto his boot and sends it back to the outer wing where it's marked by Moore.
He plays on quickly, centres the ball and finds Priolo. Priolo, another short pass, finds Blake Messina. Messina goes across the ground, looking there for Jesse Adamini. Put him under a heap of brother because it was easy pickings there for Simpson. Kim Simpson slaps it to ground, goes the way of the player there in Dylan Curley, but he kicks it back towards the centre of the ground where he finds Railways' Elliot Delaney. Elliot Delaney kicks it back towards half forward, but he's picked it back to Bo Simpson. Bo Simpson gets a short pass and finds Joseph Ugle. Ugle goes with a short pass, finds Delton Jones. Delton Jones on centre wing, screws the ball around the corner, but only as far as Jesse Moore. Jesse Moore kicks it in towards the centre, where he finds Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders has the ball, centre wing, clubroom side of the recreation ground.
Delton Jones should have just kicked it down ground then, Glenn, because Rovers had the run of play. The ball in the middle of the ground. It goes the way of Jake Criddle. He kicks to the outer side, and there's Simpson. That's Kobe Simpson on this occasion. Brothers have played well for the Demons this afternoon. The ball comes in. It's with Rovers now. Can they set something up to go forward? The ball comes laterally now across the way of Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell knocks the ball in front of him and is tackled without holding it, and he'll be the recipient of a free kick. The youngster, only 15 to 16 years of age, kicks it into Ugle now. Ugle only has eyes for the ball. The umpire says, he's given him a free kick as he was dealt with. The umpire felt as he went forward. Joey Ugle, he's starting to even out as Rovers' probably best contributor this afternoon. The ball coming into the full forward area. Down they go to try and collect the ball. No one can collect it from both sides. Goes eventually the way of Scott. Scott handballs to a teammate. Puts it onto his boot. Sends it forward. But forward, there again is young Zimmerman. And he certainly is the Rock of Gibraltar this afternoon.
He's firming into favouritism, I'd say, for the Skeeters Restaurant player of the day. His performance over 4 quarters has been
It's interesting, Glenn, too, because at the other end you've got Bo Simpson.
Yeah,
so defences have been really good.
The defences have been probably the power in both these games, as both these sides, as Jack Cocking kicks the ball up towards half forward, looking up there for an opponent, and there's that man you were talking about, Peter. Kobe Simpson goes out wide and finds the player there in Dylan Curley. Dylan Curley on half-back, short pass, looking there for Jacob Troy, finds that player. Troy has the ball, centre wing, Goes on with a short pass, looking for Dwayne Neville. Jack Cockingcoot's put pressure on, but Dwayne Neville goes back. Gets a kick forward, looking up there for Ganza. Ganza sees the ball towards the boundary line. He's tackled, put the ball down. Umpire let him away with that one. In goes the player, and a free kick goes the way of Rovers. Rovers player was held not in possession, so the free kick will go the way of Chris Scott, just in front of our Radio Mama broadcast box here. And this final quarter, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants.
He's in good form. Good to see, and I bet you the Rovers faithful are too, Glenn. Of course, he is a grandson of the great Jim Scott. He played for Chapman Valley. Nephew, I should say, but his grandfather, Bill Bursell, was also great uncle Bill Bursell, was also a well-known Rovers man as well. The ball comes in now. Off the top of the pack, there's Zimmerman again, but he doesn't get too far with the ball. The umpire says, I'll have it back, and a free kick will go the way of this player, and that is Dwayne Neville. He started to have an impact as the game has developed. Let's see what he can do. He's kicking toward the big sticks now. That's a nice kick by Neville. It's going to make the distance. Is it going to drop short? No, a nice mark is taken right in the goal mouth, and he plays on now. That is Simpson, and he scores another goal for Rovers. That's Josh Simpson, and it is an important goal in the context of this match because now things are starting to even out pretty much this afternoon here in our Drennan O'Malley game day.
Yeah, Josh Simpson made a very good meal of that. He read the ball beautifully off the boot. He was the only player paying attention. He reads the ball beautifully, and he was able to make them pay. He took the ball, turned around, and ran into an open goal, didn't muck around, and puts the pressure back on Railways. 11 minutes gone in this final quarter, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants on Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. And the score on the new Fab Equipment scoreboard is Railways 9 goals 10, 64. They lead Rovers 8 goals 6, 54. So 19 scoring shots to 14. And Railways in control at the moment. 10 points the margin. Another goal now to Rovers would certainly make it interesting. But Johnny Narkle's having something to say about that. Johnny Narkle, the ruck rover for the Blues, grabs the ball out of the centre. Kicks it up looking for Peter Kimberley in the deep pocket, but the ball goes out of bounds and there'll be a boundary throw-in about 30 metres around from the right point post, halfway between the scoreboard and the point post at the city end of the ground.
We haven't seen too many close games so far this year in our broadcast matches, Glenn. The other one that we did see was the one at WA Country Builders Stadium between Towns and Mullawar.
That was a 7-point game?
It was, Glenn, and this one's 10 points at the moment. Let's see if anyone can break the shackles.
Railways have an opportunity now, picked up by the Railways player who shoots on goal. He's offline, 1 point only. So 65 plays 54, 11 points the margin.
Adamini is sort of, his impact has gone a little bit out of the game.
Yeah, he hasn't been the player he was last week, but I do know he's been unwell last week and maybe took a little bit out of him. So he's not at his usual standard today, it's fair to say. The ball goes the way of the Railways player who was slung, well, not in possession. And that goes the way of Peter Kimberley. So Peter Kimberley goes on, plays on with a short pass and gives it to a teammate there in Priolo. Takes a very strong mark under a fair bit of pressure. Umpire said nothing untoward in that. So Priolo, who kicked 2 goals in 30 seconds in the second quarter after he received another free kick after kicking his first one. So Priolo will shoot on goal. He's 45 metres out. Can he get his third of the afternoon?
Oh, 50-metre penalty now. This is where Rovers are letting themselves down today.
Yeah, they've given away a lot of free kicks they do.
They have.
So Rovers have an opportunity. Railways have an opportunity to nail this game. Priolo can get his third of the afternoon, and he's got a couple of those from 50-metre penalties, but that's not his fault. It's been because he's either been interfered with or the player in the opposite side has had something to say. So the margin is stretched out once again on the new Fab equipment scoreboard. Railways is 71. They lead Rovers 54. And we've played 13 and a half minutes in this final term with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. 3/4 time out there at GBSC Sports Park. And Brigades 12-11-83 lead Chapman Valley 5-4-34. And, of course, the round continues and concludes tomorrow out there at Mullawar, with Mullawar hosting Northampton in what promises to be a very entertaining and exciting game.
Railways lead by 16 points as we head to the latter stages of this game. Thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors here on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. Up goes the ball and it's knocked forward by Saunders on this occasion, but through the middle comes Joey Ugle. He's tackled a little bit high and will be the recipient of a free kick. In fact, it's Gabriel Parfitt. Parfitt plays on now. Of course, 101 games for Gabriel Parfitt this afternoon. Played his 100 last week. The ball in the half-forward area goes away of the player in Ugle now, who's quickly bottled up with the ball. The umpire says no one had any prior opportunity there. And the ball will be thrown up by umpire Bennett, just outside the centre square. Up it goes now, and no one can get possession of it or purchase on it. The ball goes away of Rovers' fist, comes out of the pack, going back the way now of Ugle, who sends it forward. He's looking for support from a teammate there who can't get hold of the ball. Railway send it back now, and it goes away of Kimberley. Kimberley sends it inboard now, and there's Boyle. Boyle now has a bit of space. Boyle to Kimberley. Kimberley now onto his boot. Can they set something up? Trying to make a searching lead is the player in the full forward possession. Can't take the mark. The ball spills free. The Rovers defence work hard. Player caught without the ball, and a free kick will go the way of the Railways player and Elliot Delaney.
Elliot Delaney's played a different role today, as we've mentioned throughout the broadcast, but I've been pretty impressed with the way he's gone about his work. Kicks it up towards full forward, looking up there for Letesca.
I wonder if he voted this year, Glenn.
Yeah.
Revealing on radio last week that he's been fined ever since he's been able to vote.
Yes, we must ask him after the game whether he got to get to the polling booth last week. The ball to be thrown back into play, and time ticking by now, 15 minutes. Railways have done enough, it would appear, but Rovers haven't been out of this contest by too much. When you consider the amount of free kicks and turnovers that they've created, if they hadn't have created those,
exactly,
there wouldn't be much in it at all.
Exactly.
There's probably been 3 goals that they've handed to Railways this afternoon through misdemeanours and whatever, or talking back to the umpire.
Yeah, 71 plays 54 if you just joined us here on Radio Mama. Don't forget to join us for Forenza on Sunday tomorrow, where I'll be replaying an interview Glenn and myself had with Jaden Schofield today. Glenn, you quite enjoyed that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Jaden was very honest and upfront about his career in the AFL. He was a very young man when he went into the AFL system, and he perhaps would have liked a little bit more support, but they were the days when perhaps there wasn't as much acknowledgement of mental health issues. And he spoke beautifully this morning, and I think you'd really enjoy hearing that interview tomorrow again. The ball is now with the player there in Josh Simpson. He used a torpedo, kicks it up the ground. Not a great kick, put his teammates under pressure. In goes the big man for Railways in Nathan Paletti. He didn't have prior opportunity, and the umpire says, "Give it to me, boys. I'll throw the ball up." The 250 game man, Stephen Pratt, one of the 3 umpires this afternoon, along with Brian Cohen and Robert Bennett. The ball thrown up goes the way now of a Rovers player, gets rid of the ball in the nick of time. Picked out now by Corey Clark. He feeds it out the back and finds Tommy Rowe. Rowe handballs it forward, but only as far as the Rovers player, running deep into attack in Delton Jones. But he's turned the ball over, and Jesse Moore has taken the ball, and he plays on quickly. Goes to the centre of the ground where he finds Railways' Jesse Adamini. Looking upfield for Alex Newton. Alex Newton, who's kicked 3 goals. He runs back in to retrieve the ball. He's got 2 to beat, but the ball spills out. Picked up by Kobe Simpson, who's been outstanding this afternoon. He has done everything he can to keep his side in the game. Kicks it out wide, looking there for Josh Simpson. Now there's going to have to be... that's exactly the same situation that at the other end of the ground was paid as a deliberate. So umpires have to be consistent with those rules. The ball to be thrown back
Maybe
in.
like the players, Glenn, the umpires aren't as experienced as those in the AFL.
Well, they should be. The umpires umpire 250 games, Peter.
Yeah.
The ball throws back into play. Goes the way of the player there in Jesse Adamini. Adamini
nice
shoots
goal.
on goal. And Jesse
That
Adamini...
might be the sealer.
And I think there's no doubt about that. Jesse Adamini gets his first of the afternoon. He kicked 8 last week, so he's certainly not in that class this week.
Glenn, the difference in this particular game was the beginning of the second term, where Railways just came out and Rovers just stood and watched them, really, didn't they, for about 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And that was when they just piled on about
6 goals.
6 goals in succession, and really put the Demons behind the 8 ball after the Demons had a lead of some 7 points, I think 14 points, at quarter time. But it is early in the year, and I'm sure Coach Ian Comben knows the things that his team has to work on.
Yeah, they do, and a bit of fitness, I think, and a bit of structure. They've been pretty good today. There's some really good signs there for Rovers. the first time I've seen Rovers this year, but Kobe Simpson and his brother Bo have been very good in defence.
Joey Ugle.
Joey Ugle, Josh Simpson's, a lot of class there. Dwayne Neville, Gabriel Parfitt, Glenn Prosser. So there's some good names there.
Certainly is. And don't forget young Scott as well.
Yeah, Chris Scott has been good as well. Jesse Adamini running himself into a little bit of form late in this game. Gets it on his left boot, finds the player there and Peter Kimberley. Another pass and finds Elliot Delaney. So as we thought, Railways probably just had the edge in structure and fitness, and that's starting to show as they head towards the time-on period in this last quarter, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. So the ball is with Elliot Delaney. He's 55 metres from goal, kicking to the southern end. Can he get his first of the afternoon? There goes the kick from Elliot. Looks pretty good off the boot.
Nice kick.
Looks a beautiful kick indeed. And Elliot Delaney gets his first. Railways get their 12.
29 points the difference, Glenn.
So 12 goals, 11 on the new Fab scoreboard are Railways. They lead Rovers 8 goals, 6. And that was a beautiful goal from Elliot Delaney, who in fact has kicked 2 goals this afternoon. That is his second goal of the game.
We just talked about some of the players that impressed you for Rovers, Glenn, but there have been some Railways players that have raised their head this afternoon, but this youngster in Zimmerman has been raising his head for, a couple of seasons now and starting to become a dominant force in defence for the Blues.
Yeah, the Railways defenders have all worked well today. Jager Williams has been good. Tom Rowe has been consistent. He's playing a good season. He was good last week. Jesse Moore, very good today. He's been outstanding. But Riley Zimmerman has hardly put a foot wrong, so you can't knock him. And, of course, there is a lot of good things to see about the Railways midfield too. And Jesse Adamini is one of those. He gets the ball up the ground and finds Elliot Delaney. Elliot Delaney, 70 metres out, kicks it up towards full forward, looking there for Letizia. Carries that player, picked up by Alex Newton. Alex Newton shoots on goal, and Alex Newton
the floodgates have opened.
4th of the afternoon. So the new Fab equipment scoreboard, and another goal goes on the board. 89 for 89
so
points.
It's going to be a good
89-54
win for Railways in the end, Glenn. By some 35 points at the moment. If they don't even add to that tally, that's a nice win over Rovers, who would be considered one of their the biggest threats to their finals campaign this year.
And we get the opportunity next week, with thanks to Drill & O'Malley Motors, to return to this very beautiful facility here at Warren Taylor Homes, and looking forward to that game already. Brigades will be here as guests to Railways, and of course we'll find now that the two top sides will be Railways and Brigades after today, both on 20 premiership points. Rovers will drop to 16. Northampton still to play, and they play Mullawa tomorrow, so Rovers have dropped to 3rd after this loss this afternoon. As Railways get the ball up towards the full forward line, or half forward line, goes the way of Blake Messina. Blake Messina receives the ball, shoots the ball after he handballed it into a Rovers player. Shoots on goal. Blake is offline, 1 point only. So on the new Fab equipment scoreboard, 90 plays 54. Rovers have got 8 goals, 6, 54. And we see that Railways are 13 goals, 12. So 13-12 plays 8-6 in favour of the Blues this afternoon. Ball comes out of the defensive zone for Rovers, and once again the ball will come back into play, and a boundary throw in on that outer side, Francis Street side, just below the new Fab equipment scoreboard, where Railways are in control. Railways trailed at a quarter time, but they've led at every break since.
Yeah, trailed by 14, led by 7, and then I think it was 17. And now they have a handy lead of some 35 points. The ball in the half-forward area now for the Blues. Can they add to their tally? A comfortable win. It will be to the Blues over the Demons. And the ball about to be thrown in from the Francis Street side. Could be a little bit of time left, Glenn, with the amount of goals that Railways have scored, maybe in this quarter, but moments ticking away in the final stages. 23 and a half minutes gone. It is 13-12 Railways. A bit of a cricket score in the end. They lead Rovers 8-6. Shannon Cox certainly didn't figure after quarter time, Glenn.
He didn't get much of the ball.
No, he didn't. That's exactly right, as the ball goes toward the boundary again and will be thrown in. So, as you said, Glenn, next week we'll be here again, and it should be a very hotly contested affair between Brigades, the reigning premiers, and the runners-up in Railways.
That will be a beauty. Looking forward to it. Other games next weekend for Refuel Australia, round 7. Northampton host Chapman Valley at Percher International Oval, and Rovers host Towns at Greenock Oval, and Mullawa take a bye next week. Ball is in the attacking zone for Railways. They're trying to get another score on the board, doing their best. The Rovers defence have worked hard. The Railways forwards are relentless. They're working hard to get another score on the board. The dying stages of this final term, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants, and the ball will be thrown up in the goal square. Lots of players around the ball. Umpire is telling players to make way. There's a Rovers player who's down and maybe in the hands of the trainers. So we're waiting on that player to stand up, or be able to stand up, and eventually the umpire will be able to throw the ball up on the edge of the goal square. Umpire Bennett to put the ball into the air. 90 plays 54 in favour of the Blues, and the ball goes up into the air and whistle on play. Free kick has been picked out. It'll go the way of a Rovers defender, I believe. So Rovers will get the free kick. So Rovers defence have the ball through Tazwell. Tazwell, the young ruckman.
Yeah, he was
like a likely young type.
Fairest and best in the Colts last year for the Demons, Glenn.
It's good to see him coming through and getting his opportunity at the next level. Comes the way now of Rovers player, but there's the siren. Full time at the football. Round 6 for Skeeter's Restaurant on GNFL's Active West season. And at full time, it is Railways, 13 goals, 12-90. They have defeated their opponents Rovers 8-6-54. And you're tuned to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.